Here with us now is Ginni Thomas. She's special correspondent for The Daily Caller. She's Tea Party activist and, of course, the wife of Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas. Welcome again, Ginni.
Thank you for having me, Ashley.
You're here at the Faith and Freedom Conference in Washington, leading a panel about the future of the Tea Party movement. What led you to get involved in the Tea Party?
I think current events are pulling a lot of people to a new place in our country. So it is my hope. I moved to the front lines, and I hope a lot more people move to the front lines. And there's a lot of friends to be made and work to be done at the front lines.
Will the Tea Party drive the 2012 presidential election as it did in the 2010 midterm congressional elections?
That's a great question. I think it's important that both the Tea Party movement and the grassroots activists come together with the establishment, and we see as little division as possible. But in order to have the most success, we need to build bridges between, I'd say, the establishment conservative community and the Republican community and the grassroots community. I hope together we can have an effective force in 2012.
Of the current Republican field of presidential candidates, who do you think resonates most with Tea Party activists?
That's a great question. It's hard to say. It's exciting to watch. I think we need time to answer that fully. But right now, certainly Herman Cain has got the attention of the grassroots. I think they're watching for Michelle Bachmann. Whether Jim DeMint would get in, that would be exciting.
Would you like to see him get in?
I don't have a dog in the fight, and I really want the most conservative candidate to prevail in the end, and I want to see as little friction between all the players of our team so that we can have success.
On the Paul Ryan Medicare issue, an anti-Paul Ryan budget person won in New York 26th, the special congressional race there. That was a very heavily Republican district. Do you think Republicans need to back off a bit on entitlements?
No, I think Democrats need to lean forward on entitlements, and I think Republicans need to get smarter, particularly in New York State, which is a funny state for politics. There was a straw candidate put up that had a Tea Party moniker on his name, even though he was a Democrat who ran for Congress before as a Democrat. So it was a trick that was played in New York, and it's a funny state, and so I don't think there's many lessons there. I think the challenge for all of us in the nation and every statesman, Republican, Democrat, and Independent, is what do we do to get out of our fiscal crisis, and how do we lean forward into this crisis and solve the problems, not play politics.
Danger of any ringers in the 2012 election masquerading as Tea Party candidates? Is that something that Tea Party activists are concerned about?
I think New York 26 put the Tea Party movement on alert to people who are playing games with their name around the country at the local, state, or federal level. So I think they're on alert, and I think it's too early to tell whether there'll be more shenanigans to come.
All right, do you think Republican leadership is listening enough to Tea Party when it comes to issues like reining in spending and the soaring federal deficit? The leadership of the Republican Party, are they getting the message?
I don't think the Republican leadership is clearly getting the message enough. I think there's a gap there, and I think there needs to be greater efforts by, I would say, Senator McConnell and Speaker Boehner and their teams. They need to reach out more effectively to the Tea Party movement and be comfortable with new people coming to the movement, as opposed to seeing them as some alien force that's hostile or offensive in any way. I think this should be one big happy family, and there's some growing pains around the edges right now that I hope can be fixed.
So you think the vanguard right now may be a little unwilling to bend?
It's too early to tell, but we will see things in the debt limit increase vote in Washington that will show us whether the Republican leadership has enough boldness for the Tea Party movement to swallow, and whether there's an understanding of the boldness required by the movement out there.
Is it difficult at all for you to express your views as a conservative, considering your husband is a Supreme Court justice?
You know, that's a great question. There are pros and cons, and I certainly see the pros of being the wife of Clarence Thomas. I think he's the best man walking the face of the earth, and I couldn't be prouder of him. Sometimes there's some controversy to certain people. I guess spouses of liberals don't have as many problems as spouses of conservatives. So it's just part of the equation. We'll get used to it.
All right, from the Daily Caller, you're doing a video column called Leaders with Ginni Thomas. Tell us about some of the newsmakers you've interviewed and what they're saying.
I'm excited about the leaders we're finding for the grassroots to hear from in videos on the internet. And you can do that so easily now. We've had Senator Mike Lee of Utah. We've had Congressman Chip Kravach of Minnesota, who replaced a long-time old bull of the Democrat Party, a committee chairman, Oberstar. We have coming up Tito the Builder, who's an immigrant who has a very compelling story. I love immigrant stories about what's great about America. Senator Marco Rubio's on deck. Donald Rumsfeld is on deck. Governor Rick Scott was a great interview last week. So we look forward to a whole bunch of them. About once a week, every Monday, we'll bring one up now.
Tell us a little about Tito the Builder, for those who haven't heard about him.
Tito the Builder is somebody who came across my radar screen when I saw him speak on the west front of the Capitol last September at a Tea Party gathering. And he got that crowd whipped up to a frenzy as a Colombian immigrant who's now a citizen as of 2008. He's a small businessman. He's from Colombia. He sees the socialist agenda that's playing out right now, and he's very articulate and very clear on how Republicans should reach out, not based on ethnicity or gender, but as principled Americans. How do you reach out and bring in a big coalition for defeating an offensive agenda?
Ginni Thomas, thanks so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you for your time.
And thank you for watching Newsmax TV.